Hello, hello, hello everyone, slowly coming on. So today I am talking about getting comfortable with discomfort. I'm talking about getting comfortable with discomfort and why we need to do this. This has really massively helped me. It's massively helped me to learn to get comfortable with discomfort. It has helped me for my personal growth and for creating positive change. So if you want growth and positive change, which is the same thing to me, you have to get comfortable with discomfort. You have to get comfortable with discomfort. So there are some things, let me give you some examples. So whether it's like you want to change, if you struggle with anxiety and you want to change your relationship to anxiety, that's been me. I've had insomnia and I've changed my relationship to insomnia. Becoming a yoga teacher 11 years ago was another example. I'll go into these in a bit more. And even doing this, like moving my business online is another example of growth and having to lean into discomfort. So firstly, let me explain why we get discomfort when we want to create positive change in our lives and why we feel resistance. So firstly, our subconscious mind, our brains are always trying to protect us. Our brains are always trying to protect us. So when we do something that is stepping outside our comfort zone or we do something differently, our amygdala gland and our brain will start to fire, and then this will fire our stress response. This will fire our stress response because our brains want to keep us safe. And what they want to keep us safe and stopping us from doing things that are unfamiliar. So as an example, when I struggled with anxiety, there was a period in my life when I struggled with it for maybe like 6 to 8 months. I experienced some sort of panic attack kind of anxiety rather than just general anxiety. And some of that was a little bit of social anxiety. And when I started to experience that, I was like, right, I have to get a handle of this because I'm a really sociable person. I enjoy socializing, and I started getting these feelings of anxiety. So I knew that I had to move through it. Like I couldn't avoid it. I had to learn from it and move through it. So how the subconscious protects you is that when you're in a situation that suddenly feels threatening to you, the amygdala gland will start firing and your stress response would start firing. And in that situation, I would experience anxiety. And my brain thinks it's trying to protect me by taking me away from that situation. But in fact, what it's doing is keeping me stuck in something, stuck in a pattern that isn't healthy for me. So another example, when I remember so clearly, like when I first became a yoga teacher and launched my website to everyone 11 years ago, I was so nervous. Like I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. It was so terrifying. And I felt all this resistance. And that is because it is unfamiliar. I was doing something unfamiliar. And when we do something unfamiliar, we experience resistance because our brain likes familiarity. It likes familiarity. It likes to feel like it's in control. It likes to feel like it is safe. The problem with this is that it can sabotage us, or it sabotages people all the time, because this can trigger self-doubt. It can trigger anxious thoughts. It can just stop us from doing what it is that we actually want to do. So sometimes it's very easy to move through these barriers, and sometimes it's very challenging. So let me talk to you about, so the opposite, right? So I spoke a little bit about this, but the opposite to growth and positive change is feeling stuck, feeling stuck. Like if we are self-sabotaging and not doing stuff, we are feeling stuck. And we are designed to evolve and to grow and expand. There is a part of us that wants that and craves that, and it feels good. But there is this very primal part of us that doesn't like the unfamiliar and wants to keep us safe. So we have to get comfortable with the unfamiliar and the discomfort that the unfamiliar creates for us. So yeah, when we're doing something differently, we are pushing against our comfort zone. We are pushing against our edges. And it's this place that then creates this feeling of discomfort. And we start to seek familiarity and safety. The subconscious mind is flagging, the amygdala gland is flagging, the stress response is flagging, and it wants us to retreat into what's familiar and safe, which is a place that isn't of growth. And it's not to say that we have to be leaning into growth all the time, but we have to sometimes, right? Because otherwise we are stuck in places that we might want to be stuck in, whether it is a job role, we want a promotion, or whether it's a pay rise, or whether it's changing careers, or whether it's changing your relationship to anxiety or stress in your life. We have to ask ourselves like why we are experiencing those things. I'll come into that actually. So let me talk about embracing discomfort for growth and positive change. This has been a game changer for me, honestly. Like rewiring my relationship to discomfort has been a huge game changer for me. Oh, hey, Joe. Amazing. Sorry, I can't talk and read at the same time, so I really wanted to read that. Wicked. Okay, so how to embrace discomfort for positive change and growth. Honestly, this has been such a game changer for me, and I use this all the time as a reminder. We have to remind ourselves because of this primal response. Don't worry, my love. Because of this primal response of wanting to feel safe and protect us. I love comments. I love to hear from everyone. And actually, that is a part that I forgot to come back to. I'll come back to that. I had a bit of contemplation for everyone. I will come back to that. Okay, so firstly, step one, you have to want to change. You have to want to change something. So as an example, when I had insomnia, I got to a point where I was like, I have to sort this out. This is not sustainable. I have to sort this out. Like this is a non-negotiable, I want to change. I want to change. So, sorry, I'm getting distracted again, staying focused. So insomnia, yeah, I want to change. So I had to do things that were uncomfortable. So what did I do when I changed that pattern? I gave up caffeine, I gave up alcohol, I kept a sleep diary. I did things like when I didn't fall asleep, I did a CBT book that I read, which was fantastic. If anyone's got insomnia, message me, I can send you information. I've also got blog posts about this. But when I hadn't fallen asleep within the first 15 minutes of falling asleep, I would get out of bed, and that was so hard. So the point I'm trying to make is that when you want to change a pattern or even want growth, you have to do things that are uncomfortable because that's the only way that we can change. But you have to want it enough. That is key. So when we moved to the countryside, I wanted to move my business online. I wanted to continue teaching yoga, continue to do coaching. So I had to figure out a way to make an income. I do in-person stuff here, but I also wanted to grow my business online. When I lived in London, I was racing around, teaching everywhere, workshops, yoga classes, and doing a lot more in-person stuff. So I had to move through so much resistance and fear and self-doubt. I can't take so much stuff in order to do that, in order to make that possible. And I'm going to go through stuff that I did to move through the discomfort of that. But firstly, the key thing is you have to want something enough. And then the next step is to acknowledge why you're getting resistance. And this is about core beliefs, and next live that I'm going to do either next week or the week after, you have to go into your core beliefs. Like you have to dig a little deeper, like question yourself. Like if something is coming up, like if, whether it's anxiety or nerves, or whether something's not changing for you in the workplace or whatever it is, you have to question yourself. Like what is it that is blocking me and stopping me. We have to ask our subconscious mind different questions to get the answers. The answers are there, and it's so interesting when you start to ask slightly different questions, like, how is this, I would ask myself as an example about anxiety, how is this anxiety benefiting me? Like, what is it protecting me from? And then I would come up with all this stuff, like, it doesn't feel good, I don't want it, so why do I have it? There's a reason, right? So I'm going to talk more about this next time, but you have to do a little bit of inner work to discover what is behind whatever the pattern is. Okay. And yeah, so then it is acknowledging baby steps that you can take. So starting to acknowledge small steps that you can take to start to push the comfort zone, push the boundary, and start to flex the feeling of sitting with discomfort. Yeah, that is important. So it's to acknowledge that you are doing something different and the feeling of discomfort is arising. I'm actually going to go straight into some mindset stuff that really helped me. So I'm looking at my notes so I don't forget what I want to say, but really helped me to embrace discomfort and move through discomfort. So firstly, reframing discomfort is key. Reframing resistance and discomfort is key. So when you want something enough, that has to be the root, wanting something enough. So when you want something enough, you've made a commitment to yourself that you are going to sit with the discomfort of that change or of that growth. You can't avoid it. Like growth and positive change, you have to move through discomfort. You have to move through your barriers or whatever your barrier is, your comfort zone or whatever's stopping and blocking you. So the first thing I would say, and this helped me so much, is simply just to say, this is a sign of growth. And I would click my fingers or tap my body or jump up and down and shake, be like, this is a sign, this is a good thing. It is a sign of growth. So when I first started doing Insta Lives, I can't tell you how crippled with nerves I was. I would teach yoga to begin with because it was easier for me because I was confident at teaching yoga rather than just continuously speaking like this. And I was crippled with nerves. And I would say, like, this is a good thing. This is a sign of growth. Like, I want to be online more. I want to grow my business online. I want that. So I have to do this because it is building my community, nurturing my community. I want to serve my community through this. I want them to get to know me. And it was huge. It was really a huge block for me. And I did the inner work around why that would come up. And I would say, this is a sign of growth. When I went to launch my online course, I had so much resistance come up. And every time I'd feel resistance because I'd never done it. I couldn't do Facebook ads. I couldn't film a course. I couldn't edit it, all this stuff. So I would say when resistance would come up, like, this is a sign of growth. This is a sign of growth. This is a sign of growth. It's the same with the positive change. Like if you're shifting through anxiety or changing insomnia like I did, it's like, this is hard, this is uncomfortable. This is a sign that I'm creating change. In yoga, we have a great word for this for any yogis who are listening. The word is tapas. It's the third niyama. And it's when we rub up against that old pattern, we create friction, we create heat. It's so much easier to stay in the same pattern, to stay comfortable, although it doesn't always feel good. And this is the thing with patterns, especially negative patterns, and it could be perhaps you're in negative relationship cycles is a really common one. And it is our subconscious mind liking the familiar, not liking change or whatever, if something that feels different. It doesn't like what feels different. It likes what feels familiar. So we have to make the unfamiliar familiar. We have to make discomfort familiar. So my next step was to flex courage. And actually this step came to me as I was sort of understanding and figuring this all out. So figure small action steps that you can take that pushes the boundaries, pushes the comfort zone, that moves you towards the thing that you want, and choose to flex courage, right? Take the small baby steps to get used to flexing courage. Courage is key. Just choose to be courageous. Choose to be courageous. That was huge for me. Really small shift. It's and I enjoy flexing courage. So it's difficult, but after you flex courage, it feels great. So focus on that. What does it feel like afterwards? I didn't want to do Insta Lives when I first started doing it, but I would focus on how proud I would feel of myself afterwards. The sense of achievement. Okay, and then, yes, and alongside that, celebrate yourself. Celebrate your progress. So when I was overcoming the social anxiety and working through that, and I would stay with the discomfort and stay in the situation, afterwards I would celebrate myself, well done, Jess, you did it. It was hard, it was uncomfortable, but your intention was to do it anyway, and you did it. Well done. Celebrate yourself, so you creating that positive association with that situation. And actually, this is something I believe we should all be doing every day, all day. I've got pretty good at this, although thinking about it recently, I've not been doing it that as much, but just wake up in the morning and pat yourself on the back, celebrate yourself. It really changes everything. It changed so much for me in terms of starting to see everything that I am doing. It's so easy to notice everything that we are not doing, and to have this endless to-do list and to focus on, I need to do that, or that person's doing that, or whatever it is, that person's really successful, I've got to do all those things. It's hang on a minute, this is what I have achieved, this is all the stuff I am doing, Celebrate yourself, especially when you have a focus, right? When you're wanting growth or positive change, celebrate yourself as you move towards that thing. Because it's going to encourage you to keep going, encourage you to sit with the discomfort. And finally, be compassionate towards yourself, right? Be compassionate towards yourself. If the feelings are coming up again, be compassionate. It's okay. It's difficult. You're stretching yourself. It's okay. Flex that muscle of self-compassion, of deep, deep understanding. Deep, deep understanding. Not being critical on ourselves, not being judgmental. It's okay if we didn't manage it this time. We'll try again. It's okay, be soft, invite. I also think with this work, or when we are creating something new, it's like an invitation. I welcome this change. We have to want it, but I welcome this change. Rather than I should be doing that, or I should be doing this. Really notice if you're saying that word, because that word is incredibly restrictive and incredibly negative. Free yourself. I would set an intention to never say that word to yourself again, Free yourself from words that are restrictive and holding you back. Okay, so so I guess that's the key points that I wanted to make. So okay, I wanted to come back to a little bit of contemplation for you, for those that have been here from the beginning, but it's just to contemplate, what is it that you want to change, or where you want growth? Yeah, what is it? It's the same thing in my mind, growth and positive change. Relationship with anxiety, relationship with someone in your life, boundary setting, changing careers, maybe where do you need to step outside your comfort zone? Just contemplate for a moment. What is it that you want to change? And then contemplate the feeling that comes up when you want that just know, when I start to do that thing, step into that, what might arise. So when I would start to do Insta Lives or presenting and holding larger workshops, nerves would arise. Yeah, nerves, and I'd actually freeze in my mind. But as I went back and did the inner work, self-doubt, fear of judgment. And then there's the step to do inner work, which I'm going to talk about next time. But trying to get to the root, we might think that we know where it comes from, but really discovering the birth of that core belief, because we're not born with it. And I love thinking about that. It's like, I wasn't born with this belief or this thought pattern. So when did I imprint that on myself? When did I take that on? You know, if I can take it on and make it, then I can unmake it. I think that's so powerful. Like, if we can make a belief, we can make another belief. Our brains, we have the power to do that. But that's a little bit of inner work, sort of the deeper level stuff. And then so if you have the thing that you want to change, and then you're questioning the resistance that comes up, just start to acknowledge the small action steps that you can play with, right? You want to take actionable stuff that you can play with. So when I wanted to do Insta Lives, I then started to interview people, because it meant that I wasn't talking solely or holding space. I had someone else that I could ask questions and lean on, and I would have a load of questions. So I did it like that, you know, that was an actionable step to flex that muscle. And then when you have the actionable steps, ask yourself, like, what is stopping and blocking me from doing that now? Like, what's going to get in my way? What thoughts, what feelings, what stuff, beliefs about myself are going to get in the way? And then it's to choose to do it anyway, I think, is the sort of crux to all this, and the key, the final thing is to choose to do something anyway. But yeah, so to sum this up, in order to either create positive change, which is growth, or to have growth in whatever area in your life it is, you have to get comfortable with discomfort. You have to get familiar with the feeling of discomfort. You have to embrace the unfamiliar and call it out for what it is. The fact that it is unfamiliar, so you are feeling resistance, and that is progress. That is growth. So we've come to the end of this. If anyone's got any questions, drop me a message. I have a positivity booster, which I love, my go-to signature practice, which is a free practice and available through the link in my bio. I work with people one-to-one and offer a discovery call if anyone is interested. I just love chatting to people, meeting people. I'm really open to helping you. Even if you don't take it on, working with me, that's fine, but just having that open dialogue and conversation. I have a podcast which has these 20, 30-minute bite-sized, insightful talks that you can find through the link in my bio, along with my Substack. So yeah, check out the free offerings, the positivity booster in particular. And I'm also going to be doing a much bigger freebie maybe in November, so watch out for that. But thank you so much for joining me, everyone, and I will be uploading this live to my channel, to my grid. Take care.